Hello guys, and welcome to the full guide to your Fossil Coachman Chronograph. So in this video I'm going to discuss about all the things that you need to know about your Fossil Chronograph Watch, how to use it, and also how to align the subdials, so the chronograph after battery replacement, how to use the tachymeter, how to set the time and date correctly, and also what each and one of these subdials means. In case you want to watch even other videos, so how to replace the watch strap and the watch battery on this particular model, I'm going to have videos in the description box below, so make sure to check them out. So this particular model, as most chronograph watches, are going to feature these three subdials. Now the one on the right side in this particular case is going to be for the 24-hour display. So this means that you can actually see whether you are AM or PM, and this subdial is going to be synchronized with your main time. So as you can see right here we have 7, and here we can actually see that it is 7 PM. So that is why it is showing at 19. Then we have this subdial right here. This is going to be for the seconds hand of the chronograph. So this big seconds hand right here is going to be the seconds of the time. And if I want to start the chronograph, I can press the top pusher. And as you can see, this subdial right here started to tick, and that is going to belong to the chronograph. You can press the top pusher in order to pause, resume, pause again, and then press the bottom pusher in order to reset. You can even see that this subdial right here has written seconds, and this one right here has minutes. So this means that it is going to show us the minutes up to 30 minutes. Then we have a date window. So this watch features also a date complication between 4 and 5 o'clock. As I mentioned, we have a top pusher that can be used in order to start the chronograph, to pause it, resume, stop again, and then the bottom pusher in order to reset. When it comes to the watch crown, we have 3 positions. So we have the 0 position with the crown pushed all the way. Then I can pull it to the first position, just like this. This is where I can actually change the date. Since I am in my safe zone, I can actually do that. I will explain that as well in this tutorial. And then if I pull it to the last position, this is where I can actually set the time. As you can see right here, the seconds hand has stopped. That means that the movement has a hacking, and in this position I can actually rotate the watch hands in a clockwise direction in order to set the time. So this is how your buttons work, the crown, and also each and one of these 3 subdials. Also, something really cool for this particular model is that on the inner bezel right here we have a few numbers, and as you can see right here we also have written tachymeter. So we can use this in order to be able to tell how fast is an object, a vehicle, a person going for a fixed distance of 1 kilometer or 1 mile if they were to go up to, let's say, 1 minute, and we can say that in miles per hour or in kilometers per hour. I will also show you how to read the tachymeter at the end of this video. Furthermore, I'm going to leave timestamps in the description box below so that you can jump to a certain part of the video in case you have interest in just one function. But in case this is the first time that you are working with a chronograph watch, with a Fossil Chronograph Watch, you are operating this style of watch, I would definitely recommend to watch the full guide so that you know everything that your watch does. So the first thing that we are going to talk about is how to set the time and date on your Fossil Chronograph Coachman watch. When setting the time and date, we are going to apply 3 key principles in order to make sure that we set the time and date correctly and that we also protect our watch movement, in this case the date wheel. So usually between 9 and 12 o'clock or between 12 and 3 o'clock, in case you have a date complication, the wheel that changes the date is going to engage, so it is going to start rotating in order to change the date. Since I am PM, I'm also going to show you that. So if I pull the crown to the last position in order to set the time, and I start to go past 12 o'clock, you will be able to see that as I get closer and closer at this point between 9 and 12 o'clock, the date starts to change. So at this point it rotates. This means that the date wheel is engaged. if I were to attempt to change the date as the date wheel is engaged, there is a big possibility that I can actually damage the movements of that particular wheel. As I go past 12 o'clock, as you can see, the date jumped to the next day, and now it would be safe to change the date. But there are going to be some other watches that have a date complication or that change the date between 12 and 3 o'clock. So the first thing that we want to do is to set the time at 6:30. And we are going to do this because this is going to be the easiest way to remember in order to be on the lower part of the dial, so on the lower half. This is considered a safe zone. So between 9 and 3 o'clock, or even 9 and 5 o'clock, because there are going to be some watches that have a double language when it comes to the day of the week, and this is going to be the part that we want to avoid. So the easiest way for both quartz and mechanical watches is to first set the time at 6:30. The second principle when setting the time and date is to first set the date, and we are going to set it 1 day prior to our actual end goal. So let's say that I want to make it the 5th of the month. I will first make it the 4th of the month, and then I'm going to go past 12 o'clock, arrive on my desired date, and then I'm going to arrive at my third principle, which is to set the time either AM or PM. So let's also do that. So the second principle is to set the date 1 day prior. We are going to push the crown back all the way, and then I'm going to pull it to the first position, so only a little bit. And as you can see, in this position I can change the date. As I mentioned, my end goal is to make it the 5th, so I'm going to leave it at the 4th. And I'm going to arrive at my third and last step, and that is to pull the crown to the last position and to set the time. The first thing that I want to do is to first go past 12 o'clock until the date changes. As you can see, as I mentioned, this is going to be the 24-hour display, and I'm getting closer and closer to 24, which is 12 midnight. And now as I go past, I have arrived on the 5th, and now I can make it 3 a.m. so 3 in the morning. In case I am PM, I can go past 12 o'clock once again. As you can see, 12 right here, 12 at noon, and then I can make it 3 p.m. so 15, 3 in the afternoon, and now I know that I am PM. So this is why we usually want to first set the date and then set the time, and when setting the date 1 day prior, so that I can arrive on my desired date manually and then set AM or PM. In order to finalize the process, I'm going to push the crown all the way back in, and now we have the time and date set. Now that we have correctly set the time and date, I'm also going to show you how to align, so how to calibrate your chronograph in case you have replaced the watch battery or after magnetism. So as you can see right here, my watch hands of the chronograph, as I mentioned, these two subdials are pointing perfectly at 12 o'clock. And that is how you always want to have your chronograph watch hands, always perfectly at 12 o'clock. This way, when I start and let's say I want to pause and reset, they are always going to reset back to 0, so back to 12 o'clock. Now there are going to be instances where your watch hands are going to be misaligned. So as you can see right now, they are not pointing at 12 o'clock. So if I start, pause, and reset, they won't realign to 12 o'clock. And this will make it impossible for you to read the chronograph, so to actually be able to use the chronograph. And in order to calibrate the chronograph, I'm going to pull the crown to the last position. Once again, the seconds hand has stopped. And now if I press the top pusher, as you can see, the watch hand of the seconds hand is going to go to the right. If I press and hold, it is going to speed scroll. So as you can see, it is going to move a lot faster. At the same time, the minute hand is also going to be aligned accordingly. So as you can see, every minute that passes here is a minute that goes here as well. So this means that we need to calibrate both of them at the same time. If I press the bottom pusher, I'm going to go in the opposite direction. So what I want to do is to calibrate both of them at the same time. So I want to get as close as possible with the minute hand to 12 o'clock, and then I'm going to arrive with both of them at 12 o'clock at the same time. In case you went too far, I'm going to go in the opposite direction, and as you can see now I'm very, very close, and I am going to align them perfectly at 12 o'clock. In case you went a little bit too far, I'm going to go 1 unit backwards, so to the left, and now both of them are aligned. In this position, I'm going to push the crown all the way back in, and now, as you can see, I can start the chronograph, pause, and then it is going to reset back to 0, so back to the 12 o'clock position that I want the chronograph to be. So now we know how to read the chronograph, how to use the chronograph. Now we're also going to learn what the tachymeter function is and also how to read it. So as you can see, we have here tachymeter written and also a few numbers that go in a descending order. So they start from 500 and they go up to 60. So let's say down to 60. Now, in order to be able to use the tachymeter function, we are going to need a fixed distance of 1 kilometer or 1 mile. And what we want to do is to start the chronograph when the car is going to go past the starting point, and once it is going to arrive at the finishing point, so it is going to go past the finishing line, we are going to pause, so we are going to stop the chronograph. And let's say that I want to pause it at 15 seconds. So if my vehicle, or let's say a certain object, goes past 1 mile or 1 kilometer in 15 seconds, this means that it would need to have a speed between 250 and 220 kilometers per hour. So I will be able to read all these numbers on the inner bezel. There are going to be some other chronographs where the big seconds hand is going to be the seconds hand of the chronograph. As you can see, this is not the case right here. But if I were to keep on going, and let's say that my car or the object that I'm trying to measure the speed of is going to pass the line in 30 seconds. I'm going to pause it at 30 seconds and we are going to read right here 120. So for an object to go 1 kilometer in 30 seconds, it would need to have a speed, so an average speed of 120 kilometers per hour, or in case I had the 1 mile distance, it would need to have the speed of 120 miles per hour. So this is going to calculate, let's say, the average speed over a certain distance. If you were to go up to 60 seconds, as you can see, if you were to go 1 kilometer in 60 seconds, so in 1 minute, that means that you have a speed of 60 kilometers per hour, or if you have 1 mile, 60 miles per hour. Now I'm going to reset the chronograph, and that is how you use the tachymeter function. So guys, that is how you also use the tachymeter function on your Fossil chronograph watch. These chronograph watches, mechanical or quartz chronograph watches, were actually used in the past for racing and for other purposes as well, especially for, let's say, saying the average speed of a certain car, and also to time the cars over the track. So guys, once again, this was the full guide with all the functions and features that you need to know about your Fossil chronograph watch. In case you want to also check out the video on how to replace the watch strap, so how to interchange between this one and, let's say, a normal leather strap or a NATO strap, I have a video about that as well, and also how to replace the watch battery. So that is going to be something really useful if you want to replace the watch battery by yourself at home. If you found value from this video, guys, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this YouTube channel, it really helps the channel grow. I'm going to keep on making videos about watches, vintage watches, watch tutorials and watch reviews, so I'm pretty sure you are going to like it here. And in case you would like to purchase your first vintage or pre-owned watch, make sure to check out our website vintageradar.com, because we have thousands of vintage watches for sale, link in the description box below. Thank you guys for watching, make sure to subscribe, and I'm going to see you in the next video.